Pero isang beses sinabihan ko talaga si Senator Amy. Sabi ko sa kanya, kung hindi kayo tumigil, huhukayin ko yung tatay ninyo. Itatapon ko siya sa West Philippine Sea.
The politics in the Philippines has never been ideal, but it has gotten to a new low just recently. On October 18th, 2024, incumbent Vice President Sara Duterte made headlines when she held a press conference in her office. What specifically caught people's attention were her harsh comments regarding the incumbent Philippine president, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., who is also known as Bongbong Marcos, or BBM.
Gusto ko, ang gawin mo, ulo mo lang. Tapon ko yan dun sa West Philippine Sea.
BB...
According to VP Sara, when they attended a graduation ceremony at the Philippine Military Academy in May of this year, a cadet requested for the president's wristwatch as a gift. Apparently, President BBM was very dismissive of the graduate's request, and VP Sara saw how this humiliated the young man. VP Sara was just right there, and she was deeply offended with the president's actions on the young cadet's behalf. This incident caused her to imagine some very gruesome things she'd do to President Bongbong's head, but her words were brutal, so I'll just spare you the exact details. If you're updated with the latest news, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, Vice President Sara's statements definitely shocked the Filipino nation, and the situation has just gotten more intriguing as new details come out. In the same press con, VP Sara also claimed that President BBM didn't know how to become a president. When the president was asked by local reporters for his reactions about the VP's cruel remarks, he'd just smile and not say anything. Could this have been his way of showing grace in the face of criticism? And what might have led Vice President Sara to turn so harshly against President Bongbong, especially after their strong partnership in the 2022 national elections? Before we dive deeper, let me welcome you to Grand Line Media, where we bravely discuss the most controversial topics in politics and beyond. Sit back and relax as we discuss the details about the feud between the President and Vice President of the Philippines. In 2022, then Davao Mayor Sara Duterte and Bongbong Marcos formed a partnership that electrified the nation. Sara is known as the strong-willed daughter of former President Rodrigo Duterte, and Bongbong is the calm and composed son of Ferdinand Marcos Sr., who also served as the president of the Philippines from 1965 to 1989 as a dictator. Bringing together two powerful political dynasties, their successful alliance was more than just strategic. It was the merging of two important legacies. Their coalition, called the Uniteam, involved more than just Sara and Bongbong. The lineup also composed of a slate of senatorial candidates that aligned with the Uniteam's vision for the country. Fast forward to the actual elections, Bongbong Marcos and Sara Duterte achieved a landslide victory. BBM received over 31 million votes, which is about 58.77% of the total in the presidential race. Meanwhile, Sara Duterte earned over 32 million votes, which is equivalent to around 61.53% of the total for the VP race. Furthermore, one of the Uniteam's senatorial bets, actor Robin Padilla, topped the senatorial race with 26 million votes. Uniteam was obviously victorious, and everything seemed perfect for the team. So when did it all go wrong for President Bongbong and VP Sara? Things started escalating when on June 19, 2024, the Vice President resigned as the Secretary of the Department of Education, a post that the President assigned to her. According to the VP, her resignation is not a sign of weakness, but rather it's a decision she had to make out of real concern for teachers and students. By stepping down, she is passing on the responsibility to someone who may be better equipped to handle the challenges that come with being the DepEd Secretary. That said, the Filipino people viewed VP Sara Duterte's sudden resignation as a sign of her brewing feud with President Bongbong Marcos due to the fact that it was a role that the president had personally entrusted to her. Stepping down from the important post sent a clear message to the public, and that is their working relationship was not as harmonious as the VP and the president made it out to be. As you can see, by then, their feud was only fueled by speculations. The conflict was confirmed to be real when in September of 2024, VP Sara clarified to the press that he and President Bongbong were never friends. That was a huge revelation. For what it's worth, I mean, if you were there when the Uniteam was campaigning in 2022, you could definitely see that they were very close. They made it seem like they genuinely supported each other's goals. And now, suddenly, their alliance is crumbling into pieces. Nonetheless, President Bongbong has mostly remained silent. However, he has commented at least once, where he said that he felt deceived that VP Sara never treated him as a friend.
I'm a little dismayed to hear that she doesn't think that we are friends. I always thought that we were, but maybe I was deceived.
As for the VP's other comments, the president has shrugged it off when asked. His minimal statements regarding the tensions with the vice president has left many people speculating about his thoughts and feelings on the situation. His actions could be interpreted in many ways, but it mainly reflects his desire to avoid escalating the conflict further. Despite the president's calmness, VP Sara decided to take their feud to the next level during a press con on October 18, 2024. Earlier, I've mentioned about VP's unruly comments about her visions of doing some very cruel things to President Bongbong's head, but she went as far as saying that she would personally dig up the remains of former President Ferdinand Marcos Sr.'s body and throw them into the West Philippine Sea. She obviously shocked people with her statement. I mean, let's be honest, she's the vice president, and that's just not something you'd expect to hear from someone in such a high position. Because of her remarks, both the Filipino citizens and government officials began suggesting that she should undergo a neuropsychiatric evaluation to check whether she's still fit to carry out her responsibilities as the second highest official in the government. VP Sara responded that she would be open to it, but only if all members of Congress and other candidates were also willing to take the same drug test.
I will do 2 tests, neuropsychiatric exam and drug test. Pero dapat lahat ng mga congressional candidates ay magpa-drug.
On a different note, presidential son Sandro Marcos, who is currently serving in the Congress for Ilocos Norte's 1st District, has spoken out about VP Sara Duterte's comments regarding both his father and grandfather. In his statement, he mentioned that while his father had advised him not to respond publicly, he feels that it's time for him to defend their family. Sandro expressed that VP Sara's remarks have deliberately shocked the whole nation, describing her insensitivity toward the deceased, referring to ex-President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. and her cruelty toward the living, pertaining to his father, President Bongbong. He emphasized that enough is enough, and that this situation has gone on for so long.
You've crossed the line, sir.
Now, we've uncovered all of the important facts regarding the president and the vice president's feud. It's time that we discuss what this means for the country as a whole and what the future might bring, not only for the president and the VP, but for the Filipino people as well. Clearly, their ongoing feud has left many Filipinos feeling worried and concerned about its possible effects for the country. As highly elected public figures, their roles are important in the government. Understandably, the tension between them makes people question whether it has affected their ability to effectively lead and collaborate professionally. Nonetheless, Filipino citizens are continuously hoping that the two leaders will realize that they would need to prioritize the nation's welfare over their personal issues. The public's fear stems from the concern that if this feud continues to become bigger, it could affect the administration's ability to function smoothly and address the needs of the Filipino people. Aside from that, citizens have started reflecting on the public's belief that President Bongbong and VP Sara shared an authentic and sincere working relationship during the 2022 national elections. As the feud unfolds, it's pretty clear as to why Filipinos are now questioning whether their bond was merely an act that they worked so hard to maintain in order to win against their competitors. This has left many Filipinos feeling betrayed. I mean, who saw all of these coming? Ultimately, this situation between the two leaders serves as a reminder for us not to believe everything that we see. It's not uncommon for those in power to act in ways that serve their personal interests, and frankly, it's not surprising anymore. However, we must remain hopeful that President Bongbong and VP Sara will come to understand the importance of their partnership and the expectations that come with their duties. The Philippines heavily relies on their unity as leaders, and it's essential for them to reconnect with the ideals they once campaigned so hard for. Let's continue to hope that sooner or later, they can demonstrate that unity is not just a distant dream for Filipinos, but an achievable reality. As we watch the story unfold in the following days, there's one question that lingers in the minds of many. Will President Bongbong Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte be able to overcome their differences and restore their unity for the greater good of the Filipino people?